I want to emphasize it today. I fundamentally believe that in regards to Bitcoin's story, we are entering the end of the beginning, the end of the start, the end of the infancy stage and phase of Bitcoin. Very soon, I don't think you can be early to Bitcoin in a post-ETF, a post-corporate treasury adoption, a post-nation-state adoption. There are a lot of signs, in my opinion, that are pointing to the fact that this is the end of the beginning for Bitcoin and the beginning of the end for fiat currency in the existing financial system, the post-1971 US dollar, to be specific.
The fear is loud, the frustration is louder, and timelines are filled with people asking what went wrong. But Jack Mallers says the truth is the opposite of what it looks like. Bitcoin, he argues, has already left its childhood behind. The asset that once lived on the fringes now has institutional ETFs, corporate treasuries, and even nation-state participation. The early adopter window is closing, and with it, the era of a pure fiat-dominated financial system. In Mallers' view, this is the beginning of the end of the post-$197 world and the opening chapter of a Bitcoin-based future. So why does it all feel so bleak? Global markets are ripping. Tech stocks are hitting highs. The S&P 500 is strong, and gold just smashed through $4,300. Meanwhile, Bitcoin is flat, grinding sideways, barely moving. It feels unfair. It feels broken. For new investors, it feels like betrayal. But Mahler has watched Bitcoin fall 80% 4 separate times, and compared to that, this is nothing. In a risk-on environment, a quiet Bitcoin doesn't signal weakness, it signals transition. His explanation is almost painfully simple. Sideways price action means equal buying and selling. The reason Bitcoin isn't exploding upward is because long-time holders are selling into real liquidity for the first time in history. ETFs, institutions, and deep markets now absorb billions without the price collapsing, something that was impossible years ago. To Mahler, that's not the death of Bitcoin, that's adulthood. The world's first open, global monetary network is behaving exactly like a mature asset, strong, liquid, and built to last. Top of form. Bottom of form. If you found value in this breakdown, please hit the like button, subscribe, and share it with other investors who are paying attention. We're here to keep bringing you sharp analysis and voices that understand what's unfolding. Thanks for watching.
I want to emphasize it today. I fundamentally believe that in regards to Bitcoin's story, we are entering the end of the beginning, the end of the start, the end of the infancy stage and phase of Bitcoin. Very soon, I don't think you can be early to Bitcoin in a post-ETF, a post-corporate treasury adoption, a post-nation-state adoption. There are a lot of signs, in my opinion, that are pointing to the fact that this is the end of the beginning for Bitcoin and the beginning of the end for fiat currency in the existing financial system, the post-1971 US dollar, to be specific. The distress is real. So I alluded to the fact that the market is down a little bit. We're 15% off our all-time highs. But the mood, the energy, the aura, the vibe in Bitcoin is off. It's down. Now, I'd referenced earlier, I've been in this game a long time, all right? I may look like a kid, and I may be a lot younger than a lot of you guys, but I've been around the block when it comes to Bitcoin, okay? This stuff doesn't worry me at all. I've seen it happen, and I mean literally, I've seen Bitcoin go down 80% from its all-time high 4 times. I've lived through that 4 times. And so this is all normal. I'll actually explain exactly what's going on in the market today on this episode. But for all these other new market participants, for all the newer Bitcoiners, for all the Wall Street folks, it feels anxious, okay? There was an awesome post written by Jordy Visser that talked about this. He referenced this as Bitcoin's IPO moment, meaning there's a lot of liquidity distribution. Bitcoin has entered the main stage. It has ETFs. It has corporate adoption. And a lot of the earlier Bitcoiners have a chance to offload and realize some profits take some of the gains that they've made and realize them with serious liquidity and demand backstopping it. It was previously virtually impossible to sell $10 billion worth of Bitcoin in a day or in a week until recently. The distress is real. The sentiment in crypto, well, this is just a Bitcoin podcast. The sentiment in Bitcoin right now is frankly brutal. The S&P 500 is flirting with all-time highs. The NASDAQ has been on a tear. Gold just broke through $4,300. Tech stocks are rallying. By every traditional measure, we're in a risk-on environment. Money is flowing into risk assets. Investor appetite is healthy. And Bitcoin? Bitcoin is doing nothing. Sideways, consolidating, grinding, boring. Choose your own description. None of them hide the frustration that's permeating the community. Twitter is filled with variations of the same anxious question. Why isn't Bitcoin pumping with everything else? The cognitive dissonance is palpable. We have Bitcoin ETFs that launch successfully and see inflows every month. Institutional adoption is accelerating. The Genius Act passed and clarity is coming soon. There's no regulatory crackdown, no major hack, no fundamental narrative breakdown. Everything that was supposed to matter happened. Yet here we are, watching other assets rally while Bitcoin treads water. And even when I came to live stream, and I see a lot of you guys early on in the chat, for everyone that wasn't typing out, yo, was, what the hell, man? Enough talk. When's Bitcoin going to moon? What the hell? This isn't what I signed up for. So this is a lot of the mood. And I went on and I captured some Whale Panda, who's been around in Bitcoin for as long as I have. His Twitter recently is just exactly that. And I have nothing bad to say about him. I'm just joking. But I mean, here's a tweet. Another day, another abysmal performance. Quote, but it's only thanks to the ETFs that BTC recovered after FTX, end quote. FTX didn't have any Bitcoin on the books anymore. It was a normal bear market low, same as the other bear markets. It's the bull market after introduction of ETFs that failed. Next tweet from Whale Panda. This is what mental illness looks like. This is also why this market is no longer fun to trade and why I keep saying that Bitcoin looks cooked. Next one. This genuinely makes me sad. Oh, the horror as he shows the gold price going up and Bitcoin trending sideways. Now this one from someone named Charles Edwards. For the first time in 7 months, net institutional buying has dropped below daily mine supply. Not good. You guys, Bitcoin's gonna fail. We're all gonna die. That's what it feels like when you go on the internet. It's ridiculous. Now, Jeff Park tweeted and quote tweeted Jordy's idea that this is Bitcoin's IPO moment. Meaning, guys, first of all, let me take a step back. For the price to trend sideways, that means there are as many buyers as there are sellers. If the price goes down, that means there are more people interested in selling Bitcoin than there are buying Bitcoin. When the price goes up, that means there are more people interested in buying Bitcoin than selling Bitcoin. Sometimes it's that simple. Take it from a college dropout. You don't need to have a PhD in central bank monetary policy. You didn't need to go to Harvard to learn economics. That's how markets work, okay? And so the reality of this market recently is that people have been selling. Someone has been selling. Some cohort of people that previously owned Bitcoin wanted to realize their wealth in other assets besides Bitcoin.
Jack Mallers explained that Bitcoin's resilience is what makes him more bullish than ever. In the past, a market this tight rising rates, liquidity stress, and selling pressure would have sent Bitcoin down 30 to 50%. Today, it's still holding above $100,000. For him, that proves how deep and mature the market has become. And when the Federal Reserve inevitably returns to money printing, he expects Bitcoin to be the fastest asset to react. That conviction ties directly to why he does his show in the first place. He believes Bitcoin is the only fair, global solution to the problems created by fiat money. In his mind, a Bitcoin standard eliminates much of the inflation, instability, and dependency that ruin economies. It's not just a trade, it's a fix. He also rejects comparisons to gold seizures of the past, arguing that Bitcoin solves every weakness gold had. Gold was physical, centralized, easy to confiscate, and deeply embedded in the financial system. Bitcoin is borderless, digital, self-custodied, and practically impossible to seize. China has tried to ban it repeatedly, and every attempt has failed. Mahler believes the US is far more likely to support Bitcoin than fight it, and current regulatory trends reflect that. Most importantly, he reminds people that Bitcoin isn't on anyone's timeline. It will outlive all of us, and the world will adopt it when reality, not impatience, demands it. Let's get back to the interview.
I am so bullish because despite the financial system having no liquidity, so you guys keep asking me, why is Bitcoin dumping on a Sunday night? Why is Bitcoin dumping on a Friday? Because when these lending rates spike, Bitcoin is telling you the truth. It's telling you there's something wrong. Bitcoin is the best. It's a truth machine. It's the only free market we have. So on a Sunday night, when banks are having a tough time finding overnight rates and there's no reserves in the system, Bitcoin is the thing that's telling you, no, bad, help. And on the contrary, when the Fed, which they're starting that process, we'll see how quick they go from, it might be a good idea to stop QT and start QE, to print. Bitcoin's going to run the fastest. I'm telling you. I will get on here and raise my hand and say, I was wrong if that doesn't happen. But that's why I'm so bullish. Despite, guys, 4 years ago, if Bitcoin was experiencing this market, Bitcoin would have dropped 30, 40, 50%. The level of institutional buy, the fact that we're above 100K, absorbing what we're absorbing, is insane. It is amazing. The reason we do this show on here is because Bitcoin is the only equitable solution for all of us. The question is, what do we do? Fiat caused this problem, so the opposite of fiat is the solution. That's what Bitcoin is, the opposite of fiat. Snap runs out of money on November 1st. So these like EBT cards for, those that are financially supported by the government, and this comes from Chicago. So again, Chicago's becoming a really tough sell. You guys think these people are going to be pissed? You think this might incite a little bit of violence? You think these people are going to look at others to blame? Riot? Protest? They can't get groceries. Now, should they be financed by the government in the first place? No. But again, look at what fiat has caused. This is what we're solving. When people say, yo, calm down, man, don't be so passionate about Bitcoin. I literally think Bitcoin is solving over half the world's hardest problems. If we live on a Bitcoin standard, we solve all of the things I'm talking about. I think we're still in the bargaining. Well, listen, we're not going to decouple. Let's come to a deal. Slow down. We're going to need those rare earths, but we're going to need to remanufacture, allies, 1 to 2 years. I'll take the over. And by the way, here's the thing. If it is 1 to 2 years, which as an American, I hope so, the level of money printing, like guys, this is why I'm so bullish. Like, no matter how you slice it, the level of money printing is insane, and Bitcoin is the best expression of that. Eventually, we'll get to acceptance. Eventually, we'll be like, we're the United States, we're not China, we need to live on open source software, distributed systems, artificial intelligence, Bitcoin and sound money. We're going to rebuild the West on top of sound principles that can't be corrupted. Now, Bitcoin can change the world because the world can't change Bitcoin. It's a sound bedrock for a society that can prosper and have freedom ideology. We'll get there. That's acceptance. After bargaining, there's going to be a stage of depression where there's immense amount of money printing. You've got unbelievable levels of political warfare between each other, and inflation comes back in a major way, and everyone's blaming everyone else. You've got gold played a very specific role when 6102 happened. It was the world reserve asset. It was how trade was globally settled. There was world wars. There was fractional reserve running. It's very difficult to migrate with gold, to move gold, to store it on your own. None of these are true for Bitcoin. Countries have already tried to ban Bitcoin. China's tried to ban Bitcoin a half dozen times, and it's worked zero. And so the physical risks of Bitcoin aren't there. The enforcement of something like this isn't there, and Bitcoin doesn't play the same role in the financial system. The United States is more incentivized to support Bitcoin than to attack Bitcoin, and we're seeing that right now. So I think it's one, impossible. Two, Bitcoin solves for all of gold failures, so it's not probable. And three, it doesn't make any sense. It benefits nobody. Listen, something that I've wrestled with early on in my Bitcoin career and that I see people struggling with today is as if Bitcoin needs to operate on their time. They're like, I've understood Bitcoin. I get where the world should go. What's everyone else's problem moving so slow or not understanding it? And the problem here is, guys, that we are on Bitcoin's time. Bitcoin isn't on our time. Bitcoin's going to be alive and well long after everyone listening to this is dead. And the point in me giving you that context is the world's going to adopt Bitcoin as it needs it.
Bitcoin's behavior makes more sense when viewed through maturity, not emotion. Sideways price action, profit-taking from early holders, and the ability to absorb billions in sell pressure without collapsing are signs of strength, not failure. Even with tight liquidity and global stress, it continues holding levels that would have triggered massive crashes in earlier cycles. Its design makes it resistant to seizure, borderless, and impossible to shut down, which is why attempts to ban it have repeatedly failed. A future wave of money printing would only magnify its role as the sound alternative to a weakening fiat system. The adoption curve won't move on anyone's preferred schedule, but over time the world gravitates toward the monetary system that cannot be inflated, manipulated, or controlled. Bitcoin. If Bitcoin continues to prove resilient in tight liquidity environments, what happens when global liquidity eventually expands again? So, stay tuned for clear, data-driven insights into the financial system. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you never miss our weekly updates. Thank you for your continued support, and we hope you enjoy the video.